things done right now. So, tasks at hand for this stream are okay, first on the list is I want to implement AJC's quality of life requests that they made in the free mocap server on whatever, a couple weeks ago, and then this week or whatever. Which specifically he wanted making an option for the multiprocessing of the videos, because that was crashing his computer, and he's probably not the only one. It's too much in memory at the same time, so make that optional. He wanted to, and also some Blender fixes to set the frame rate and to start at frame 0. I think I can make those fairly quick fixes. So let's go ahead and get started. So it's been a while since I've looked through this particular code base. I've been doing other stuff. Okay. Just trying to be quick about it. So step 1 is make a branch. New branch. Let's call that John. Make multiprocessing optional. Create. We'll do that one first, and we'll do the Blender stuff after. Wait. No, I should do the easy ones first. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay, so first thing we do is make sure this actually runs. And make sure it doesn't kill my audio. Because for some reason it kills. If you're on Discord, it kills your audio. I don't understand it. Hey, look at all that. Thank you. No. Okay. So here we are. What do we want to do? Okay, so we want to make it we want to make it a different everything. Doobity boo. So it'll be here. Because the thing that he wants to do is to change the way that the camera, the video processing works to make it optional. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to that part of the code that handles that, and then wrap it in an if statement. This is kind of like hot fixy, because this is not exactly like the way we should be doing it, but it'll work. Okay. I'm like so desperate to start refactoring this into the 2.0 version, but I'm realizing that that's not we gotta, like, it works just fine, it works great. I just have learned a lot and I want to refactor it. So we will refactor it. We're not going to break functioning code, so we can make a cleaner version of the same thing. Free mocap 2.0. Okay, so follow it down. So it happens under the process. It's in the processing part. So free mocap core processes. Can I make these bigger? Bigger? Oh. No. Well, am I streaming at high enough resolution? Need to check these things. Video 1920 by 1080 output. No, don't scale that. Do the whole thing, friend. Whether or not it actually sees that will remain to be seen. And if it doesn't, Hey Java, I love refactoring. It's like my favorite thing to do. Because it's like whenever I start, like, you know, like when you're refactoring, it's just like, man, you're just riding high. You're like, I know how to do this. I have a whole plan. I have a vision in mind. And then it's beautiful until it starts to get to the point where you realize that you still have work to do. But I don't know. Like, I feel like it happens in stages. The current version of the software is, way better than the previous one, but it has the disadvantage of having been written in the past. So it doesn't have, when I was writing it, I didn't know all the things that I learned by doing it. And yeah, I just, there's a lot of basically it's like a lot of it's like there's too much going on. It was my first learning as a continuous process. Okay, focus fucker. So we don't need to be in the GUI because I don't think it's that bad. Not experimental. Okay, everybody close. Close. Free mocap. Why is everything... Free mocap. Core processes. Capture volume. Post-process. Process this video. Process recording folder. Is this the one? I'm like, yeah, this guy needs to be... It's not that bad, but it's just... It could be cleaner. And if it was cleaner, it'd be easier to work with. Process folder full of videos. That's promising. And it's just communicate all these parameters, just stuff like that. I want to clean it up. Star map. Process single video. Yes. With multiprocessing as a pool. Haha. Here we are. Okay. Output folder, save it. Okay. Simple Boolean. And it'll be fine. So, okay. So right now we're just going to put it as a simple parameter. We're not going to try to auto detect anything because that's more complicated than it needs to be. And we can add complexity later. How are you doing, Java? I recognize your name. I don't remember any specifics about you, but I remember I've seen you before. And good to see you again. Okay, what are we doing here? So just gonna use multiprocessing. Bool default is true. See, look at all these. Look at all these things I used to do, like setting default values. Use multiprocessing. Default values are good, but it's we don't need to have a bunch of options. Grumpier, right? Grumpy code that doesn't, and then friendly front ends, grumpy back ends. That's how we do things. That's funny. Which map? Is a map you made or a map from a space of things? Okay. If use multiprocessing, do this. Doink, and Control Shift M, and process. Use multiprocessing. Multiprocess videos, I guess. Parallel process videos. All right. Else. Serial process videos. Oh. I appreciate the mystery. Children's story. Famous map from a children's story. I mean, that could be any. There are so many. Okay. Control C. Control V. focus. What are we doing here? So in here, parallel process, you got these video folders. Output data folder path. See, look at this, sending paths everywhere. It's better than I used to do, but like again, like this separation of concerns. That's what I want, thank you. Path to folder of videos to process is gonna be that. I have done myself a lot of favors by the variable names being what they are. Get video paths, tasks for video paths and paths. So these are the tasks. Star map pool. Oh, interesting. So I actually can probably video paths, tasks, video paths, star map. Okay, cool. Okay. Video paths. Okay, first things first. Control Z, Control Z, control everything. Control Z. Okay. You, dear friendo, are not actually about. Yes, you are generic across serial and parallel processing. Control-Shift-M, create. It's going to be serial or private. Create video processing tasks. Sure. Great. I think it's actually like mapping. Map. Video paths. Tasks is video path. Cool. Star map. Process single video. Tasks. Okay. We're going to do this if statement just in the who's it. Then we can pull it out later. Where even are we now? We're in the media. My classes are too big. 4. Task and tasks. That's right. And we're gonna do. Look at these. Also, just learned that like long names like are helpful, but they're also there's just more entropy on the screen. So I have learned the joys of some simple names. It's just you gotta trust yourself, trust your audience, and just give yourself enough help. Okay. And multi-processing with single Do I have TQDM? Oh. I think this will work. this is still like, it's like, look at this. It's like too long. These are too big. We need to break them up. Oh, dearie me. Okay. We will get to it. Do you even return anything? No, you don't. You just save stuff into a list. Oh, and then you do all this nonsense. Look at this. Look at this. Ugh. This is one camera num, in range camera num. What even are you? We'll get there. Build output numpy array. That's pretty good. That saves some time. Saves some time, or at least breaks things up. Alright, well at least that's out of my sort of headspace. Yeah, saving data in the same function. Mistakes there. It's fine. It's just like, when did I write this? 5:30. Yeah, for VSS. May. Okay. Been a long road since May. This stuff in particular, actually, because a lot of this is older. Yeah, March. Been a real long road since March. Anyway, we learn a lot. A lot of this code doesn't need to exist. But we're not going to lose our minds over that. We've already lost it over enough other things. Processing a recording. Okay. Kill event. Why doesn't the kill event get to live anywhere in here? It should. It should. Is it because... Do you live in here anywhere? It's gonna. Kill event. Optional parameters everywhere. Man. It's just like, come on, man. You know better than that. I do now, though. I didn't then. Now I do, though. If use key to QDM, iterator for, if not success, read results, image. If kill event dot is yes. Good job. Did it. Forgive me. Yeah, no, it's just kind of like there's a certain thing that happens when you're building stuff organically. It's the same thing that happens. Quick story about developmental visual neuroscience as an analogy for code. When babies are born, they're they go through a period of neural proliferation, which is basically a process of where like their visual cortex is like connect everything to everything. Like all like their brains come in relatively underformed because they're babies. That's how that works. And then in that first like 3 months of their lives, like it's just like connect everything to everything. And it's like rampant neural growth, and all the neurons connect to all the other neurons. And it's like the most brain growth you'll experience in your whole life. And most of those connections are not good connections. It's literally just connect everything to everything. And then what happens over that period of neural proliferations is everything gets connected. And then over the course of the following months, they go through a period of what's called neural pruning, or sometimes neural Darwinism, where basically all of the connections that aren't really doing anything kind of die off, and all the ones that are functional remain. And there's a process of like dopaminergic reinforcement or something like that, where like the pathways that sort of lead to them like having successful motor actions get reward. Like you like, oh, I want a thing, I see it, I'm gonna grab it, oh my god, it's in my hand, then like boof, reward pops off in your brain. And when that happens, everything that was connected, like all the things that were recently active get reinforced. And over the course of that process, the unuseful connections that were formed in that neural proliferation phase die off, and the useful ones remain. And that's how I feel about this code. Is there's too much here. There's too many things happening. It's too big. It's too kludgy. And now, but it's kind of like it got the thing working. It got the pieces connected enough to make it work. And now that it has been working and been functional for a long enough time, is this going to cause problems? It might. I don't think it will. I now know enough, and I have enough like new understanding of how to write better code, and new understanding of like separation of concerns, and also just new understanding of like how the software works and what it needs to have to work properly. So I know. Yeah. What's up, Mycon? What's up? What I was saying, but yeah, I now know how to code better, and and most of this code should not exist. It's a clean code thing, sort of. I mean, I've heard that term a lot. I feel like I talk about things that sort of are accidentally coextensive with like things that are talked about in like the tech industry, and like clean code is great, but I mean, I care about code that I can like work with and extend and like teach students how to work with. Like this is an open source project, so like theoretically other people should be able to help out. And so the cleaner and simpler it is, the easier it is to understand, the easier it is to explain, the easier it is to onboard. And so there's just this constant desire I have to like make things cleaner and simpler, just not because it will necessarily change the functionality, although it does. When the code is cleaner, the software works better. But mostly it's just because like my life would be easier if this was simpler. So it is it's one of these things. It's like, kind of want to stream. Can I do that? No, complicated. I was thinking about like using this as my webcam because it's like, what's the word? Like advertising. But we're trying to be functional with this stream. But yeah, so clean code. Computer doesn't care how your code works, but I care because I'm trying to make it like work and be better. And it's easier if it's simpler. Right now we've got the spaghetti has been stuffed into raviolis, and we're happy about that. But the raviolis could be smaller and neater, and it is a aspirational goal. How you doing, Mycon? How's life? It's been a while. I am doing stuff. Okay. So, we have... Right. We are here today with the goal of implementing these changes, these fixes that our old friend AJC recommended on the server. By the way, for posterity, we've started doing on Friday mornings usually. On Friday mornings at 11 a.m. Boston local. I've been doing I just hang out in the voice channel on the FreeMocap server with myself and some of my lab and kind of talk to folks about what they're working on and living life. It's been nice. We've done it twice. We'll do it again. We'll keep doing it. Yeah, AJC has been showing off his Blender add-on. So has others. Mean Michael showed his off too, which is it has a lot of advantages. I always want to I like his a lot, but AJC's is like pro level output. Like really excited about implementing that. He also had just a couple quality of life requests, so I'm just trying to bang those out real quick. Clean code, I mean, yeah, clean code is like, it's one of those things. It's like when like Java, like not to call you out, like you say like, oh, it's a clean code thing. I'm like, I don't know what you mean by that, because it's like, it's one of those things. Like I feel like you're referencing a term that might mean different things for you than it does for me. And I always try to be mindful of that in the software space, because it's like there are just phrases that have this kind of like corporate ick to them. And so like doing open source code, especially from like an academic scientist background, there's a lot of stuff that like I learn about it. I'm like, oh my God, that's just such a good way to do things. And then I'll say it, and then someone who's like worked in the tech industry is just like, oh my God, don't do that. That's like this toxic, horrible thing. And so like and usually it's like, it is a good idea that's been twisted by like the corporate environment and like reified and turned into some like ritualistic thing, like daily stand-ups. It's like, it's a good idea, but if it's like ritualized too much, it just becomes like meetings. Don't make me stand up. Like, it's cute. Stop it. It's been good. Busy with work. Haha. Yes, I understand that sentiment and those capitalizations. Okay. There's this. Oh my God. I've gotten so much better at programming in the past 6 months. Spaces and tabs. I get that reference. I came across that recently. It's just like, yeah, all this like dogmatic stuff. It's like, oh, this one's better, that one's better. It's like, I don't know, man. I just go into GPT and say, what's best practices? And then I do either what it says, or what I think is a better idea. But when I don't have an opinion, I trust the machine. And if I do have an opinion and it tells me something differently, I ask it to explain itself. And I take it from there. Focus, fucker. Okay. Process folder full of videos. Bounce back. Where are we at? Oh, haha. Look at that. See? Local culture. I've always felt... Yeah, I get that. I just feel like an interloper. I got emotes. We got emotes? Wait. Oh yeah, no, I've been like using the machine to write code is not like straight up. Like people often, you hear people talk about it like oh, it's just going to put software people out of business, and like, oh no, people will rely on it, write bad code, and they could code them into a corner. All these things are vaguely true. It is just a very, very powerful tool that has to be used effectively. But I have learned the skill. I am learning the skill of coding with machine assistance, and it's unbelievable when done right. Okay, so we're focusing. So down here, so what we've done already is we've wrapped. Oh, one thing at a time. We have wrapped the multiprocessing of the videos in a Boolean. That's a parameter of the process folder full of recording guy thing. Which we are going to Control B. First thing we're going to do is we're going to use keywords instead of arguments, asking for forgiveness for sending all these paths everywhere, and also giving ourselves I read. It smells like me from the past. That guy didn't know what he was doing. Not like me now. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I knew what I used to be doing. I now know what I used to wish I was wanting to be doing, and it's if I could go back and do it again, man, I'd do such a great job. I don't know what I'm currently doing, so that's the problem. But I can look at the past and feel superior to that version of myself. At least. Okay. TBS. Yo, dude. So I run a lab, right? And I work with a lot of students, and I have a PhD in cognitive science, and I've been, in this space for a long time. And when I talk to students, when I talk to friends, when I talk to everybody about the machine, AI, GPT, Claude 2, whatever you want to call, whatever large language models, the current situation, the first thing I tell them is use it for anything at all that you can think of. Dumbest shit imaginable, because it is a very powerful tool, and if you want to, you will get better at it by using it. Full stop. Using it for dumb things, using it for smart things, using it well, using it poorly, using it for really amazing stuff, using it to write dumb haikus. All of that is using it, and using it will make you better at it. So also, the other thing I say is GPT-4 is not the same thing as GPT 3.5. If you've been using 3.5, it's very impressive. G4 is a different ball game. 3.5 was wow, this is cool. 4 was oh my god, the world's gonna change dramatically overnight. Recording info model. Focus fucker. So I now am feeding it this parameter, and it's coming from here. It shouldn't come from there. Where should it come from? It should come from the parameters. Media pipe parameters. Okay. Media pipe parameters model. See, this is the part of this old code that I like. This is my baby's first use of Pydantic models, and I'm using them here to do the parameter setting, and that is why this part is going to be doable in a short amount of time, is because the parameters are sort of lumped and gathered, and that's the pattern that I want to disseminate through the rest of the code more extravagantly. I have some skip 2D tracking, media pipe parameters tracking model. I have heard of Move AI. I've heard of Move AI very much. Yeah, they're basically a for-profit version of FreeMocap. I have not tried it. I've heard bad things. Have you tried it? It's one of those things that's I have my strategy, my mental strategy has always been in the space of alternative motion capture systems, markerless motion capture systems, is if I see one out there that is free and open source, I try to join forces. If I see one out there that is proprietary closed source, I steal everything that I can from them and I ignore it. Yeah, their marketing team is great, but they're they're really good at getting their shit out there. But there's a lot of people on the server who have used it and don't like it. It's expensive. Apparently $50 a month gets you 10 minutes of processing, which is not much. It's clean. It's got a nice clean interface, but it's also yeah, it's got a lot of polish, and a lot of it has no scientific bearing. It's just not that kind of tool. It is not a truth preserving measurement device. It does have a more sophisticated output than ours does at the moment, and it's got a much slicker interface. But it's all server side. It's all based nothing's processed locally. Yeah, the Rococo, that's single camera. So we have single camera mode. It's they're estimating 3D from 2D with single camera because they don't want to handle the complexities of multi-camera. When we do single camera, we just flatten it because I don't want to. I know what that data looks like, and I don't want to mess with it. There's a lot of companies out there that do single camera motion capture, and what they have to do because of the state of technology is take the data, like the shitty 3D data that comes out of a single camera, and basically run it through like a neural network that is said to like make this look nice. And so what comes out of it is something that can look nice and clean, but it's not truth preserving. That's how I will say it as a scientist. That is one of those things where it's like, it's as much as and as little as I can say on the topic. It's the kind of thing, it's like, it doesn't sound salty unless you're a scientist, and then it's like, ooh. But yeah, Rococo, bless them, 8-track company. Okay, what are we doing? We are going to Simple Pimple. I am not going to wrap the media pipe parameters model in a secondary model for 2D tracking because that's more work than I want to do right now. I'm just going to say use multiprocessing, give that parameter, set it by default to true. Yeah, smoke and mirrors. So much of the tech world is smoke and mirrors. It's all based on this kind of like, they're trying to sell you magic boxes. And the secret to a magic box is you can't tell people how it works, because if you know how it works, then you can make your own. So, like, they don't want that to happen because that's not their business model. And so that's like part of the whole vibe of Free Mocap is it's not a magic box. It is, I think Micon made when like you get to see the sausage getting made. And the tool is trying to teach you how it works as much as it can. I want you to make your own, and then I want you, because I want it to be the one that we're making as a group, and I want you to be able to help because it's too fucking hard to work on this. But yeah. Yes. Yes, we need one of those boxes. Magic box. Yeah, neural networks, like real time. I mean, ultimately, this is using convolutional neural networks. Just to be clear, like the markerless tracking, MediaPipe is markerless is a convolutional neural network doing the tracking. And it will produce an estimate of 3D, and that estimate of 3D is going to get better and better over time, until eventually, for almost all purposes, the difference between a like a neural network based 3D reconstruction and a multi-camera based reconstruction will be kind of indistinguishable for most purposes. However, it will be the case, I think, always that more information will lead to a better track, even with neural networks. So even when we have a case where a single camera is good enough for most purposes, multiple views will still give better tracks. The question is, does it matter for your application? If you're an animator, it might not. If you're a scientist or a clinician, where you have a true measurement of the world is the goal, then accuracy and precision are very important things. Neural networks are absolutely good for cleaning the data, but the problem with that model of using a trained neural network to clean data is that you have to train the data. You have to train the system on what clean data looks like, so that under the hood, what's actually happening when you use a neural network to clean up your data is you're telling it, hey, neural network, make this messy data look like the clean data that you've seen in your data set. And what happens with that is, like in my experience in doing stuff like that, is that it will always it will regress towards a mean, and the output of the neural network clean data will look more generic than the original data did, and you can see that it's in a lot of different places. I'm blanking. I'm trying to focus on this, but yeah. So the result is that it will look very good to your eyes, but it may not be what actually happened. And I think that matters. Like, even for artists, I think that matters, because it's like, if I'm doing something weird with my hands and it's like that's part of my personality, and you feed that into a neural network that's been trained on generic human behavior, it's going to take those little idiosyncrasies of my movement and sort of and smooth them out, because it's trying to make the input look like it's training data. That's where, as opposed to like a more overt classical cleanup method, will, like, we're just looking at the data as data and like cleaning up time series and stuff like that, is not going to have that kind of like regressing towards the mean. Yeah, so like this is the concept, like, you know, truth preserving versus not truth preserving manipulations of data are sort of is a theme that I've been thinking about a lot in my life and more recently. So yeah, different use cases. But yeah, ultimately Move AI doing their thing, you know, it's a very different use case, very different market, very different approach, and ultimately, like, it's kind of like, let me put it this way, like, Move AI does not affect my business model, but FreeMocap might affect theirs, because whatever they're making for however much they want to charge for it better be good, because there is an alternative, and right now, and the alternative is only going to get better over time. Focus. Okay, so we've added the Boolean for multiprocessing. We've added that parameter to this parameter model. We did not make an additional model to hold this one, because I don't want to do that level of refactoring right now. And now, so this will have that in it. So now we see where you are from. Control B. Oh my goodness gracious. This is... I know more. I've learned more. The next version will be cleaner. Okay. So we're trying to figure out where it's coming from. Okay, so we're looking in the main window in the Create Control Panel widget. And we're going to feed in these parameters. So now, because we now have... Oh, okay, so we can actually test this now. Right? Oh, I shut you down. We can test you now. We can test you now by doing... Look at this new fancy ability. PyTest. Huh? This is the weirdest thing. Like, my terminal in PyCharm has, like, started doing this thing where it's just, like, really slow. I don't understand it. Probably need to clear a cache or something. Who's this red dot? Are you trying to help me? No. Well, then get out of here. PyTest. FreeMocap/tests. And we wait. Run. Invalid syntax in process recording folder. Yeah, see, there you go. This is what I'm talking about. Ho ho. Ho ho ho. So basically we have a test. We have one test. It's an end-to-end test that will download some sample data from the internet. That's like a recording that's been chopped up, so it's like just like it's 200 frames. It's like, you know, it's a regular recording that I just like snipped up into, like, we remove like every, I think, like, it was 1,000 frames and now it's 200 frames. And it just runs it through the pipeline and then make sure it works. So I just ran that and it didn't work because there's a typo in this thing, because I didn't complete this part. Rec. Who are you, Rec? You are him. Rec. Rickety Rec. Media pipe parameters model. Use multiprocessing. There you go. Like, so what should be happening here is like the parameter model for the camera processing stuff that should just be the model that gets shoved into the part of the code that handles that stuff. And that model should be designed and defined explicitly. It's like, hey, this is the request. Like the front end, the GUI is gonna, like the user is gonna say, hey, back end number crunchers, I have a request. Please process these videos in this way. And then you send the model, you send the data model, the parameter request model, like to the back end, and then it processes from there. Which I kind of understood when I made this, but I didn't fully understand it, as evidenced by the fact that I'm like pulling things apart and I'm pulling stuff out of different stuff. It's just kind of like it's an incomplete, like this version of the code is based off of my incomplete understanding of like model view controller and that kind of like those like basic design patterns that it's like I get it now because I just built a new thing that I will unveil at some point in the not too distant future, but not just yet. And I'm in the process of working with this code, especially working with like Philip and Aaron and Trent and other people who've been helping out. Just like seeing the places where like my misunderstanding of those fundamental concepts led to me doing things in the architecture that made it hard to maintain and debug and extend and explain and all these kind of things. Okay. Anyway, doink, doink. Yes, get to work, nerds. Front end is the flashy, fancy fairy princesses. Back end is the gritty, grody. Gritty, grody. Do-do-do. Workhorses. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This kind of thing is just like we work until we're done. I think it's just kind of like, what is that? Why are you taking so long? Then when it runs like fine. I also, we're using poetry now. Maybe it isn't running fine. Maybe it's running slow. Object, none type object has no attribute is set. Yep, that makes sense. Because I made that an optional parameter. Don't make it optional. If it's important, if you need it, then it's not optional. Trust yourself in the code. You know what you need. You just got to ask for it. Ah, da 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 tum tum tum. Doop-a-da-bum, ba-da-ba-dum. Doop-a-da-bum. None type object has no attribute is set. Oh, there's an order. Don't like that either. Create all these tasks. Get you. Okay. Ugh. Okay, video path, output folder, parameter model, annotate image, list of results to NPY arrays, kill event, use TQDM. All right, that should work. The secret is to understand that nothing ever works, nor could it ever work. And I am guilty of hubris in these moments, because I was like, oh, that'll be easy. And the problem with saying things like that'll be easy is the code can hear you. And it likes to bite people that say dumb things like that. I need to get to a different terminal. That's wrong. How you doing, buddy? You can do it. You can do it. No. Attribute none. Why are you getting a none? Oh. Uh-huh. I think I understand. I think I understand because I made it optional. The problem with optional stuff is that if you need it and then you don't provide it, you don't notice that you made that mistake until it becomes a problem. If you make it not optional, then it will tell you when you screwed up. Wait, that should work. Kill event, kill event, kill event, kill event. Oh wait, also, we're not using that. We're also not using that. No, wait, we are. This we're not using though, and I don't know where that's coming from. It's annotated image. Is that a Boolean? That's a function. Callable. Okay. Where do you come from? You're coming from there. Kill event. Okay, so are you? Just follow it up the tree. So look at you. Again, optional. It's not optional. Stop saying it's optional. If you need it, it's not optional. Oh, because of the headless stuff. Just going to break their code. Okay. Okay, I have to make it optional because I'm trying not to break other people's code, and we don't have a test for the headless. Oh wait, is it running the headless? It might be. In the thread worker, you have a kill event, and we're not feeding it. Are we feeding it? Recording info dictionary. Save dictionary to JSON. That's from Philip. Try while not. Where's the actual work? Process motion capture data thread worker run. Multiprocessing.process. Wait, is that doing multiprocessing? Process recording folder. Oh, because the test is running right. It's getting fed properly on the front side and the actual thing, but the test is testing the headless version. The headless version does not have a kill event, so we have to change that. So I'm now going to go back to making it not optional again. So this is using a sub process. It's running in a process to make it not CPU bound. But that doesn't. It doesn't have to like multi-process the each individual camera. Just the whole thing, which is what we want. It does need a kill event. Okay. Boo 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 boo. You are not. Control B. Let's go to the headless guy. Yikes. Because if it's going to be a good test, you want it to be the actual test. The problem is that like it's split up. Process recording folder. Okay, yeah, so you already added that, and now I can add another just sort of kill event is multi-processing dot event. That? Do I need to make a new one like that? Is that how that works? Okay. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Run! Once again, I'm in this slow terminal. While that's running, I'm going to ask the internet. Why is my PyCharm terminal running so slow? Okay, how are we doing here? Has no set. I thought we did that. It's the same error. Runtime condition objects should only be shared between processes through inheritance. That's why I didn't have a kill event in there, because it was causing problems. And okay. That's for simple version. Simple. 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 Simple pimple pimple. Simple pimple. Making life simple. So the reason it's like I get this error and it's like, you know, condition objects should only be shared between processes through inheritance, and I'm like, I don't know what that means, man, and I don't really want to, so I'm not gonna try. Do you want to recommend a type hint? Is that what you're trying to do? Sure. Is that what actually happens? It is. It's a list of tuples. Simple, simple pimple. Now I go into this guy and I remove this kill event. Because much as I like, the whole purpose of the kill event is to allow you to like stop the process while it's running in case something goes wrong, but you couldn't stop it before, you can't stop it now. So we're retaining the same functionality. Although we can, in the case, process single video, doink, you get it up here, doink. Here, we can check in here if kill event that is set. We got that. Break. So now it will check every I want to be done with this at some point in my life. Run it again. Hey, check out this fancy lesson. I'm remembering that I told myself. Copy. Hungry. CD GitHub / FreeMocap organization / FreeMocap doink. Venv scripts activate. I know how to do things. And now I'm going to say pytest freemocap test freemocapt tests. Oh, tests. Windows. You better work, and if you don't, then I will take the feedback. Process recording folder is missing kill event. See, you see how I allowed that little I let that little piece bother me of the kill event not getting inherited and not being optional. I let it bother me, and now we're here. Now with all these problems. It's not that many problems. It's just like there's a certain mental energy of like noticing a problem and not fixing it. It's challenging. Process recording folder. Missing one required positional argument. Kill event. Type error. Oh, did I process? Oh. Process recording folder. Ho ho. Da 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 bum. That'll do it. Maybe. We'll find out. That's also, I think, a really good example of like. It's a great example of. Hey, we're doing it. The way that. So that kill event is a front end thing. That's a view thing. It is saying that it is a mechanism by which to give the user the ability to kill the process as it's running. And it was, but I put it in. It was being like fed in like a moderately clean but sort of like kind of sloppy way into like working code, which should be controller, I guess. Like the process recording folder functionality, that's like in the controller space, not in the view, not in the data. But I let that view piece into the working code, the processing code. And as a result, when I'm going in here now and trying to change some of the working code, I had these issues come up because of the lack of separation of concerns. Hey, we passed our test. And that's the kind of thing, like that kind of error is pervasive throughout this whole code base at the moment. And it doesn't affect the functioning of it now, other than like the potential of there being like weird bugs that I didn't catch. But it's just like, you can like, this has been a great example of like how it makes things that should be simple, harder. Okay, so we just tested that it does work when the default, when it does, the multiprocessing still works. Hooray. Now let's test it. If it's false. Da 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 da. Bop 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 bop. I like that little song. This should take longer. Untype object has no attribute is set. See? This is confusing because I thought we just did that. Because I added it into the loop. It's like it's like you just like, it's so humbling. It's like, why doesn't it work? It's because of the thing I just did. The thing I just did while explaining why that's a problem. It's like, don't mix your code together. You cause these issues. Just don't think about that. You're going to make your life harder. Okay, first thing else I'm going to do is I'm going to move this single... Can you do this? Control Shift? Oh, cool. Below, because I think it's... Like, look at all this stuff in the init. Look how big the init the initialization of this class is. My God. Who wrote this code? Shit. Oh. Yeah. This guy. Whoever this guy is. I don't know who this John plus 3 is, but he's the bane of my existence. If it had been anybody else, I would have been like, oh, so forgiving. But I'm joking. Okay, so the check is that we only just do another stupid check. If kill event is not, look how great Python is. It's like, how can I check if the kill event is not a none, which is an empty thing. And so what's the syntax for that? If kill event is not none, then you check for it. And if it's set, then break out of the loop. Whew. Blowing your mind. Blowing your mind with this fancy code. Look at this. Look at these nested. Look how nested I am. Forbearance and forgiveness are essential to a happy life. Here's what we can do. Control-Alt-M. What? Wait. Oh. Not going to do it. But also notice how having tests here allowed me to make, like I'm finding all these little, like, sloppy bits and, like, things I forgot to delete, things I forgot to clean up, and I'm finding them by just, like, pushing a button and seeing the errors that pop up. Tests, baby. Tests. And that's something that the machine is great at, by the way. If you're using it, like take whatever function, plop it into whatever LLM you want, and just say little things like, write me a test for this. And it will just do that. And then that's all you need. That's all you need. Look at this. CPU. Processing on the CPU. Why? Not using the GPU. You know why? Because I don't know how to do that. It would be so much faster if it did. Also, why is it taking this long? It should be giving me more. Okay. $208. So this has to do with how I am. There's some difference in the way process single video. It's not iterable. It wants to be something else. MediaPipe 2D NumPy arrays object is not iterable because here's something else I'm going to do. I'm just going to run it with the debugger on. The tests are good, but I also like to be able to break things into the debugger. Does this have load? It does have download sample data. Kind of want to record a new one. I should do it. I should do it for the stream. I'm so tired though. No, focus, fucker. You already have data loaded up. Who's this data? No. Who's preloaded? This is already the sample data, and it's small. So we're just gonna run it. Yeah, that's me. This is me in my class. Yay! Hui! Matplotlib, you're so slow, but you do work. This is another case of like this. If I had put every time I look at this, I'm like, oh, there's all these things that need to change with it. But I'm like, I don't want to put the work in to fix it because I want to make a better version instead. But I've been thinking that for so long. Like I could have made this much better, but it's just there's available effort, and it's limited. Process data. Okay, so now run, and now you will pause in the debugger if you're a friend. Yeah. So it'll run through that, and then it will get to the part where it's not happy. Hopefully pause. Oh, it's going to get through all of them for some reason. Yuck. I probably could have skipped the 2D tracking. I'll let it run for now. Because this data has already been computed, like the 2D data has already been computed for this guy, I could have just clicked this and skipped it. Ultimately, there's like another bit of queue conflict here, because you're clicking yes to say no, because this checkbox is saying skip this step, and that's brain backwards. Like you don't. Like you're saying yes so that it will skip something, which is not how our brains want it to be. It wants to be, it's on means it's going to happen. It's off means it's not going to happen. You see. Okay. Great. Here we are. What was your complaint? This is your complaint. This is not iterable. Because it's not a list. Who's getting fed in? Look at Philip doing work. Good job, Philip. Aha, he said. Rather than appending each new addition into the list, I was just replacing the list with the output of the function. So now we're appending it, and now it'll be a list. Thank you. Run. Be sad. Be sad and fail. It's okay, buddy. I understand. Oh, there's also that part. If it fails, it shouldn't continue. Okay. Run it again. Learn lessons. What did I say last time? Skip. Ho. Now run. This will happen very quickly now. Wait. I have to do the processing, otherwise there's no point in doing this test, because that's the basis where I made the changes. Dark pattern. It's actually anti-pattern more than dark pattern, I think. I love the term pattern. I think it's such like it's such an interesting concept. Because pattern is things like if you click the X, it goes away. It's just the stuff that we all learned implicitly by this, like the pattern of things we've built. And that I think this is anti-pattern because it's opposite of what you would expect. Dark pattern, at least in my interpretation of the term, so if you see the X and click the X, it opens the link. That's dark pattern. Because they're doing that on purpose to trick you into doing something you didn't intend to do. This I would consider like saying yes to say no. I think in my mind that's anti-pattern because that's not malicious intent. It's just like it makes it just a little harder for you to understand it because it's not what you would expect to be there. So you have to be like, wait, whoops. But I love the term pattern. I think it's such a just think it's cute. So that's good. So it worked, which is great, but it didn't test the thing that needed testing. So let's run it again. And with this, it will run through it asynchronously. I fucking hate Twitch ads. Sorry about that. Dark pattern is intentionally trying to trick you. It's like, I'm repeating myself in case you didn't hear. It's like when a mobile ad puts an X on the pattern is the things that we've learned over the use cases of being on the internet and using computers. Like click the X, the thing turns off is a pattern. Dark pattern is when developers intentionally manipulate your expectations to get you to do something you didn't intend to do. Again, that's my interpretation of that term. We may have other definitions. So like a mobile ad that puts an X in the upper right corner of its ad so that your brain will instinctively click on it and that opens the ad you were trying to close, dark pattern. Putting a thing where you turn it off to turn it on, that's anti-pattern. I didn't do that on purpose to trick you. It's not the way that it should be to make it like easier for your brain to understand it. It's not what you would expect to see based off of the pattern of how things tend to be built. The sound is out? Is it back? I'm not going to repeat that again. Can you hear me? Is hearing or is it gone? Just me or is the sound out? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Is anybody listening? It looks to me like it's like the can you hear me? Oh god, I can't even ask. I can't send a text. Can you hear me? Oh, hello. I guess I can click on the stream. Check there. Can you hear me? Is the audio out? Because if the audio's out, I'm actually not sure what I can do to fix it. I'm currently trying to figure out if I'm actually producing sound at the moment. Hello. It doesn't look like I'm producing sound. Hello. I'm not producing sound. I think this might be FreeMoCap's fault. There's a thing we've discovered that like it messes with the sound. For some reason, like for some unclear reason, it messes with the sound. Which I don't know if anyone can hear me even saying this.